Um, so we're going to talk about something I've been super obsessed with lately. I have played through almost all of these games. There's a couple I haven't, and I found out that it's okay that I haven't, because some of them just sucked, but most of them have been pretty amazing. The movies have been pretty awesome. I don't know about the last few, but first couple were pretty great. We're talking about Resident Evil. I have officially, as of the recording of this, I've beaten Village 3 times now.
Dang.
I'm a completionist, so I try to get everything done in a game and try to get all the trophies and all the achievements that are available. I've hit 70 of them so far, because I don't know why, but they're just, there's things about it that are just really interesting. But how many of the games have you guys played?
That's a good question. I think I stopped around 2 or 3. Not because of anything specific, but there were just other games coming out at the time. And I love Resident Evil. I'll always love Resident Evil, and I've been around for some of the other ones. I never really got a chance to play them, but I just for some reason never got a chance to play too much after that. And I do want to play Village because it looks really great.
What about you, Nikki? Have you played any of the games?
Yeah. I remember playing the first one when it first came out, and I never completed it, but I remember it scared the shit out of me. And then when I got the PlayStation again, the PS Pro, 4 Pro, whatever, they had the re-releases of 2 and 3, which I then played religiously because they were so rad. And then I got the VR system for PlayStation, and I think it was 7.
Yeah.
And holy shit, what a game changer. I just recently beat 8, only one time. And I was kind of bummed because when I beat it, I was kind of going through a walkthrough because I like to get everything, experience everything. And I don't read too much ahead, just enough to get myself through a door.
Right.
And so I completed the game, and it's only complete 33%. So now I want to go back and play it more and get that number up. But yeah, I love those games. I adore them. They still scare the shit out of me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've played all of the main titles except for 6. But apparently 6 is the worst one. Because it's kind of just a hodgepodge of 4 different stories that don't make any sense. And they're just like, well, you have Chris Redfield, so it's fine. 6 was the Umbrella Corporation's already been fully dissolved at this point, and Redfield's working with the BSAA to try and figure out exactly what's going on with this new bioweapon that's been distributed across the world. But at the same time, you're 3 other characters that don't really have anything to do with the lore, and one of them ends up being Wesker's sister, who you find out it was his twin in the orphanage with the chief in Resident Evil 2 and 3, and it just turns into this big clusterfuck of mistakes. And even Capcom's been the game sucked. We're sorry, folks.
Do you guys remember the Resident Evil that was first person? And you could, I think it was on Wii or something, and you had the little aimer.
Dead aim.
Is that what it was? That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, and you could use they made a gun adapter for the Wii. That one was rough. It felt like an arcade game. Felt like I needed quarters.
Yeah, it was very House of the Dead-y. It was very, just point and click. It was fun though. That was the first time though that don't get me wrong, when I played the other games, I guess I was scared-ish, but it's it was always a hidden angle in the top corner of a hallway, and like you found yourself just running in that angle. And this was the first time that it was just like, yo, zombies are coming at you, and you better be a good aim, because if you're not, you're dead. And I was like, oh, all right, now I'm concerned for my life.
Nikki, that VR one though was the one that ruined me. Like that first section when you're with Mia.
Oh, right.
And she comes up the stairs and she's changed, and you're like, good.
That got me so good. My poor heart. I think I aged like 10 years, you know, from that one scene. You know, she comes and stabs you, and I'm sitting on my bed, and when she like jumps on top of you, I could have sworn I'm like laying down. Maybe that's how good VR is. But yeah, that game was like, I just now, like after that, I can't stop. I'm like addicted to horror games on VR. And I can only get through like maybe 10 minutes at a time before I have to throw the headset off, run outside to make sure the world is still the way it is.
So,
which I guess nowadays, I don't know what's better.
Yeah. So what's funny is talking about that. So I replayed 7 to get ready for Village. And there's a section in 7 where you get back up to the main house and you're walking to that main hallway where you open those big metal doors for the first time into the big open space. And I'm waiting for something to happen, just waiting. Like pucker factor is high. And Hillary's sitting behind me and she drops her phone and I jumped. Like, I was like, oh God, what the? Oh God. And I thought it was something in the game. And I looked, she's like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, like, I just dropped my phone. I was like, fuck. Cause I like to play with headphones on. Cause I like to, you know, when I'm playing scary games, I'm fully immersed. With Village, I had moments of pure discomfort in the entire game. Like being stalked by Lady Dimitrescu in the castle, like trying to find everything, knowing that she could impale you with her 9-foot claws the entire time. And, you know, just the most intense part, no spoilers for right now, because the game's still fairly new. In the House of Beneviento, that whole section, the dollhouse, I literally stopped 5 or 6 times while playing that section. And it's not a very long section of the game. But I'm sitting there just like, these dolls suck. And you don't have any weapons. You don't kill anyone in that entire section of the game. It's 30 minutes of exploration going, what the fuck is going on?
Just waiting,
just waiting
nerves just on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, just waiting for something really shitty to happen. It's pretty nuts, man.
You know what's funny is, and I know this is a tad off base here, but I felt that way about Kingdom Hearts 3 when I tried to play it. There was literally like a 45-minute sequence in the beginning, and I was like, am I playing a game or am I watching a short film? I'm confused on what's happening right now.
Oh yeah, man. We could talk about Kingdom Hearts too. My girlfriend's a huge fan of that, and I remember watching her play that. And it's essentially like it's a 4-hour game with a 12-hour cinematic.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I think that's one thing to tie that in. That's one thing that Resident Evil has over a lot of game series that you don't really see much anymore is linear connections between like every single universe. Because they essentially have 3 different generations. You have the Raccoon City incident, which is 0, 1, and 2, I believe Code Veronica. And then you have the post Raccoon City incidents, which are 4, 5, 6, and the Revelation series. And then you have the Ethan Winters incidents.
I gotta ask, how do we start 0?
Well, 0 was a prequel. So they did 1, 2, 3 Nemesis, 0, then 4, 5, and 6. So they pulled a Star Wars.
Yeah, but then I was gonna say, then doesn't it just move up everything?
Yeah, but they had to call it 0 because it was Patient 0, which is where the concept came from.
They messed Resident Evil 1 and 2, and now 1 and 2 are 2 and 3. Way to go,
That's
guys.
kind of true. That always aggravates me about prequels. It's like, fuck, you just ruined the whole number sequence.
Yeah, I mean, we can always blame Star Wars and just be like, well, we renumbered everything. It's like, but it's not the same, man.
Well, see, the great thing is that, like, was there ever like numbers on Star Wars though, right?
That's
like,
true. That's true.
Names, which I think was the smarter way to go about it, you know?
Yeah, so it should have been Resident Evil, Mr. X, Resident Evil Nemesis, and then Resident Evil 1.
So as for the movies, I love Mila Jovovich as an actress. No matter what she does, she's been fantastic in literally everything.
Joan of Arc, baby.
I think she was great in Resident Evil, but like I feel like the movie started to get a little wacky towards the end there. You know, they started to get a little weird. You know,
yeah.
There are some things that I say to this day that like just don't translate very well in movies. Like I appreciate the fact that they're trying to like make it very Resident Evil like, but you know, it's like Wesker started to get a little silly.
Yeah, well, Wesker got really silly in the game. So
yeah,
like big time weird. Because I mean, the interesting thing is everyone wanted Mila to be not who she was. I felt like a lot of people wanted her to be Jill Valentine. A lot of people wanted her to be like specific characters within the story. And then they started implementing like Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, the Nemesis creature. I think Nemesis was in the second movie.
Yeah, something like that.
Which also had the best soundtrack. Had like Iowa level Slipknot. Had a couple Marilyn Manson tracks on it. Like I remember listening to that soundtrack all the time.
Which is the one with the soundtrack that had Kill Switch Engage on it?
Let's find out.
One of the second one.
I love having a computer right here to do all of this.
But yeah, so yeah, something about the movies, it was like I must agree. I wanted it to be like she was one of the characters, but then you know they started implementing the characters. Like there's something, maybe it was the time that the movies came out and they just kept rolling with the Resident Evil zombie kind of feel to it. But like there was something about the movies that felt hokey.
Like they didn't quite.
I agree. I as much as I found like the movie's enjoyable, it's like you're basing a movie after a game. The game's got the storyline, the game's got characters, you know, perfect. That's the way the thing that we all liked about it, that drew us in, made us play it, made us like, you know, play it over and over again. Yeah, you're gonna make a movie, not add those characters, kind of just change the story. It's like, should we still call this Resident Evil or just another zombie movie with the hologram girl and some souped up Mila Jovovich, you know?
Yeah, because like, she's a clone, right? Or something like that.
She's a clone of the original Alice, if I remember correctly, who is the original carrier of the T virus. So the soundtrack you're thinking of, Mickett, is for Resident Evil Apocalypse, which was the second one, which had the End of Heartache on it.
There you go. Then you're right. That was the soundtrack right there. That one, I just started listening to them and like, oh damn. Okay, we did this.
Yeah. So they were both released, I believe, by Roadrunner. So you had on the second one, you had Slipknot, The Used, The Cure, Lacuna Coil, A Perfect Circle, Killswitch, Rammstein, Devil Driver, Cradle of Filth, CKY, Deftones, Hymn, Demon Hunter, Thrice, 36 Crazy Fists, Cold, Rob Zombie, Massive Attack. And then on the first one, you had Slipknot, Cold Chamber, Edema, Static X, Depeche Mode, Mudvayne, 5.0, Marilyn Manson, Saliva, Il Nino, Rammstein, Fear Factory, and Crystal Method.
So far, what it seems like is like whoever did the story for the movies was just like, whatever. But whoever did the soundtracks for these movies, oh no, that was the G right there. Like that was the move. They hired the right fucking person for that. That's great.
Yeah, you have fucking Dig, My Plague, and Something Told Me on the same album. And then on the other one is like My Plague, or not My Plague, Vermilion, The End of Heartache, and other epic bangers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that whole that
Mind
list
Tile.
from the second one is intense.
Yeah. Maybe that's
you know,
what made those movies bearable, was their soundtracks.
in the game, and I always wonder why I never saw this in the movie. Do you remember in the game there was like a green troll looking thing? Do you know what I'm talking about? It had like big old arms, and it would like run across the ground and stuff. I had an action figure of it when I was a kid.
I wonder if you're thinking of Mr.
I was going
X.
to say, like, that sounds familiar, but I may have just saw my own reflection in the TV when it went black for a second.
Yeah. Shit. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this had to be 2 or 3, maybe.
So 3 had the Nemesis creature,
Right.
which is the one that is like Lisa. Like part of the face is ripped off. It was believed to be Chris Redfield.
It just cut out. Say that again.
It was believed to be Chris Redfield.
Oh no, the impression.
Point. Lisa.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that's how it sounded.
Yeah. Because when they did the re-release of Resident Evil 2, they made Mr. X like 10 times bigger and a little more menacing. Like he was like almost like he was made of steel. He was grayish with a trench coat, but I think he was a big green hulking monster in the original second one.
You know what's funny is, and I always thought about this as a kid. Like, so hear me out. We're in this zombie apocalyptic world, right? We're in Raccoon City because that's the most prevalent one for me, and zombies are trying to eat me. Other people are constantly just being dicks to me and just doing dumb things. And when I get super hurt, my immediate thought is, where's my little folded piece of newspaper that has dust from different planes? And that's how I'm going to be okay.
The healing herbs and
like
stuff.
Somebody had some other thoughts there. It wasn't penicillin. Like, come on now. We know the apocalypse. I always thought about that though. Like, say it again.
No, go for it. Finish that. I have something separate.
How he's just, well, I guess every character is somehow randomly collecting these plants and just like, well, let's just grind this up and put this in this little piece of paper. So put that in my pocket.
Everybody's a herbologist.
Yeah.
But is totally great at this. Like I'm over here looking at weeds in my front yard. Like, should I grind that up now or what?
Games for the zombie apocalypse?
Yeah, right.
You fall off a skateboard, scratch your knee.
Oh God, it worked.
What do we do? I got this. I know exactly.
Here's a green plant and a red plant.
What were you gonna say, Nick? You had an idea you were running with.
I was gonna say, aren't they coming out with so I downloaded this when I got Village, but Reverse Resident Evil. Is this supposed to be like this online type of Resident Evil game, like a MMORPG kind of thing?
I think it's fully co-op. Let me pull this bad boy up here. Because I saw that the other day. Not the other day, but it comes with the purchase of the game of Village. But it's I think what it is. Reverse. Here we go. Is an upcoming multiplayer video game set in the summer of 2021. Oh, set for a summer 2021 release. It's meant to be a video game that celebrates the 25th anniversary.
So are we partying or is it a game? Like,
features third-person
having
over-the-shoulder
some
multiplayer
champagne?
action with characters from the Resident Evil franchise. 4 to 6 players take part in 5-minute deathmatch battles using weapons and items found throughout the map, with the player scoring the most points at the end of the match winning. So it's a 4 to 6 PvP.
Oh,
Oh.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Like Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
Oh.
a player taken down. Oh yeah. So humans that are taken down transform into bioweapons that can change the tide of a battle. So they become monsters. Like if you die, you become a zombie.
Yeah.
With players able to upgrade their bioweapon transformation by obtaining virus capsules. Once the bioweapon is killed, the player respawns as a human. So essentially you die, come back as a bioweapon, and then if they kill you again, you come back as a human, and the cycle continues.
Interesting.
But you could fuck shit up as a
Yeah.
bioweapon.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on what you are. I wonder if it's like everyone's a zombie or if it's like you turn into Nemesis, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a totally different story right there.
How many times do you have to die to be Nemesis? You know,
I wonder. Because it is
At
an
least-
option.
this is the yeah, 3 times. 3 times, that'd be good.
3
Yeah,
times.
3 times.
So the playable characters are Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine, Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, Ada Wong, and then a hunk soldier. And then the bioweapons are the fat molded, a hunter gamma, which I think is from the Resident Evil 3. And then Jack Baker from 7, the Nemesis creature, and then
way.
Titan T103, which is Mr. X from 2.
Fucking Jack Baker.
Dude,
I
relentless.
vaguely remember me.
Yeah, he's just a big hulking creature in a trench coat who can't die until you get him to turn into his final form. But fucking Nikki, Jack Baker, man, was the scariest character in that entire game. Like without question.
Scary and aggravating. He pissed me off so much.
God, the fight in the morgue section with the chainsaws
Oh my god.
took me forever to fucking figure out. And it's just one of those situations where like you could probably see the frustration on my face, but you just get so angry at something that seems so simple. Like the process of that fight is so basic, but you have to do it in a specific order or it makes you look retarded. Like it just makes you look bad. And it's frustrating because like it's so simple. You attack, you use the other things in the area to keep him away from you, you attack, and then he's done for that section of the game. Like it's really easy. But for some reason, I was always like one step behind and he would get me with the double. Fuck, really?
Oh god.
Fuck off.
Even the first fight with him too, like in the kitchen living room where like he's busting down the door and just in VR, you're like, oh, I remember I think I got like actual whiplash from that fight.
Oh my god, that one, it was awful. It's just like, no. What's funny is too, even with the remakes, the 2 and 3 remakes, they kept kind of the tank controls you could play them with the tank controls of the original games. That was the one thing that turned me off from the original few when I first started playing, was like the controls were weird. Like I never liked that it had the, if you hold down and you run into the next room and the camera changes, it moved with you. So like you're running straight, and then all of a sudden the camera flips and you're running towards the camera, but the input is telling you to turn around. So you just like, it was the same thing with Silent Hill. That was the same control scheme. But like, even for the limitations of that system, if we look at it now and it looks just blocky and weird and really, that shit was terrifying back in the day though, because we were like, look how realistic the graphics are. But one of the things I love about the Resident Evil universe though is the villains, like the primary villains, like Wesker, like the Baker family, like the four lords of Village. I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things that makes this franchise better than some others and why it's lasted so long. Do you think any other genres, or not genres, I guess, but game series could probably take a page out of this and be like, oh, so this is what we need? Because like the gameplay is great, but the gameplay is consistent. Like that's the thing. It feels the same from the different generations of systems. Like 7 and 8 feel very similar in control style and play. 4, 5, and 6 felt very similar in control style and play. 1, 2, and 3, same situation. What do you think other franchises could take away from Resident Evil that could help build their franchises better?
Zombies. All other franchises could be better with zombies. Just throwing that out there.
I mean, Call of Duty is better with zombies. I will admit that.
That's true though.
It was a better game. Yeah.
I don't know. Like all that stuff sounds great, like I love the Resident Evil franchise. I love how they just keep putting out fun games that I want to play, and I just wish other franchises would keep making games like the whole Until Dawn. They're like little horror movie anthologies they've been doing. Those are rad. I don't know, just keep making games and putting them out.
Yeah, Resident Evil is almost like, it's like horror Zelda.
Yeah.
Like concept is like, oh my God, I gotta fight somebody. And now let's do a puzzle. Everyone's dying, but we're gonna do a puzzle. It's gonna be great. Oh, everybody's dying again. Zombies everywhere. And I really with Zelda, I'm a huge Zelda fan, but like with Zelda, it was just kind of like dun, 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 slash. And then we're going to do a puzzle and I'm going to hit someone with a sword. And I love that about that game, but I love having the opposite concept of like the world is pretty much over and like everything's trying to eat you instead of just kill you because they're a dick, which I guess could be essentially the same thing. But like, I love the fact that it was like somewhat of an intellectual puzzle game at the same time. Which makes no sense in real life, by the way. Like, and I always thought that was about this game. Like I've never been like, oh my God, there's fire everywhere and cars are flipped over and there's zombies. I need 3 different pieces of keys that I need to put together to open a door that goes into the basement of a police station. Perfect.
I was just about to say that. But sir, you're the head of police. It doesn't matter.
It's like, I could jump this gate right here. But I need to find the piece of the fuse that I'm missing. Not the fuse, the piece of the fuse that I'm missing to get the door to open.
I always thought about that. Like, there's always like, oh, this door's locked and you can't get through it. And when I was a kid, even though I was a kid, like I was like, yo, I'm pretty sure that's wood. We could just kick that in. But it was like, no, if you don't have the key, you're never going in.
I own a shotgun. Hold on. That's my key.
Nope.
These shells aren't heart shaped. It's cool. We got it.
That's my favorite part also of the Resident Evil universe. The storage and capacity systems of the game. So one of the things that I've always hated about RPGs and certain other games is like essentially like fucking Skyrim, the unlimited amount of shit you can carry. What I loved about The Witcher was like, as you got stronger, you could carry more shit, but you're still limited to the amount of stuff you can carry. Granted, you're carrying like entire suits of armor and 17 swords in a tiny bag next to you, kind of thing. But like with Resident Evil, you have to earn the ability to have more shit. And I've always like one of the achievements in Village is called the Slob, and you cannot reorganize your entire inventory the entire game. Like you can't shuffle or move anything once. And for someone like me who has like everything has its place, that was the most stressful achievement to get, because I like meticulously organize my fucking inventory. I'm like, all right, my bullets have to go here. And it doesn't fucking matter in the game. Like in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to go in and be like, I need to select this particular clip of bullets to put in my gun. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. But like my OCD takes over and I'm like, I want it to look pretty. But I think that's one of the other aspects of it that kind of, you kind of just have to, right? Like at least you can, that way you can look, like open your inventory and look, you're like, okay, I have this much ammo left and I have these many health potions. I'm about to go into this boss fight. I got to make sure I'm as organized as possible.
Yeah.
But
I think that's how it goes for all those types of games. I'm always like weapons, armor, all my cocaine herbs, like everything. That's how I do every game, you know?
Yeah, that's true. It's funny too, because like video games have now changed how they implement health in a game. In the Ethan Winters version of the game, it's a fluid that you just pour on your arm and you're like, I'm healed. Huzzah!
Yeah.
But it's the same idea, Mick. Yeah, it's the same idea, Mick. Like I think we're far enough away, Nikki, that I can say this part. Like it's not really a spoiler. But in the castle, you're running from Lady D the first time you're running from her, and you're trying to open this door, and you pull open the door, and all of a sudden this like thing slices your hand off, and you're just like, and your hand is still attached to the control that you're trying to move.
The lever.
Yeah.
You get Skywalker. Yeah.
Yeah, you get Skywalker, exactly. So you run in a circle, you get away from her, you grab your hand, you use the other hand to open the door, you run in a circle again to get away from her, then you go through, you get on this platform, and all of a sudden he just takes his hand out of his pocket and just like puts it back on his arm and then pours some of that shit on it, and then all of a sudden it works again.
I want some of that shit.
That's what I was saying.
How is he that much of a genius but can't unlock a door?
Exactly. Also, if you have 7 lock picks, don't you think one of those would work on one of those fancy doors?
If you have a magic liquid that you can pour to make your pieces go back together, I just pour it on the door and see if that opens, because whatever. Right?
Exactly.
Oh, what is this? Do whatever I wanted to do, juice? Perfect.
Just gonna squirt
It's
this in
ketchup is what it is.
Oh man. Now
so just because I haven't played 5 or 6, I don't think. So is 7 and 8 kind of its own story stemming out from the whole? It is, yeah.
Yeah, so 7 and 8 were created as its own independent incident. So essentially what it is 4, 5, and 6 all talk about Wesker's process of essentially pushing the virus and the mold that it becomes out into the rest of the world and sort of selling it as a bioweapon for other groups to use as a way to kind of take control of different areas of the world and governments. And it's been 10, 12 years since 6 came out. You kill Wesker at the end of, I believe it's 5. And then Wesker's sister is the primary villain in 6. Because there's 2 primary doctors that kind of developed all of the shit that you deal with through this whole thing. And then one benefactor named Spencer who helped found the Umbrella Corporation. So you had Birkin and Wesker, who were the 2 primary doctors who kind of fucked this whole thing up for everybody. And I'm sure we'll get a shit ton of things in the comments like, oh, well, actually, but I'm just going off of what I remember. So what 7 and 8 are essentially what the modern opportunity is. So you find out in 7, again, we're far enough away. If you haven't played 7, I'm going to spoil something for you, but it doesn't really matter in the long scheme of things. The game's still fucking fun. You find out that the government had been developing bioweapons using essentially embryos as carriers. And when they reached the age of 9 or 10, they were at peak virility. And the one that took over the Baker family was Project E, or Evelyn, who ends up wanting to have a harsh urge for a family. So she would take control of members of families and develop them into essentially mold monsters that were carrying the virus with them, carrying the mold with them. What's interesting is Ethan and Mia both were a part of this by totally different circumstances. Ethan gets dragged into the story because Mia had been missing for 3 years, and she randomly sent him a message like, come get me. I'm in Louisiana. This is where I am. Come get me. You come to find out that it was actually the mold, the bioweapon, that called him there to keep extending the reach of her abilities. By possessing Mia and having her do all of these things. And you come to find out that Mia was actually her mother figure and actually worked for the BSAA, the Bioweapon Service Alliance. I can't remember what it actually stands for off the top of my head, but she's the reason that that weapon was even in Louisiana. And
dude, just Ethan, just poor Ethan, just
dude, Ethan gets
screwed.
He gets fucking boned through both games. He gets his hand. First thing that happens to you in 8 is he essentially gets his hand bitten off by a werewolf. So you're walking around the game with one good hand that gets cut off and then reattached, and then another hand was essentially just like this the entire time.
So I haven't played that Resident Evil. And I think so far up until a certain point of when the fungus mold calls her, I was like, yo, this sounds like it could be a movie, right?
Oh, it should be a movie. It would be an incredible movie.
But then I took the things that I know about Resident Evil already and my hilarious obsession with the cocaine herbs, which I still don't grasp very well. But it was like, oh, she calls him, but then you find out it was this mold. And I immediately was like, yo, she was just on shrooms. And when she called, he came. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. It was the fungus, man. It was the shroom. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I'm not going to lie. When I started playing it and found out it was like a mold, like a moldy fungus that was creating all of this shit, I was like, whoever came up with this was just like, we should make a game about shrooms. That's what Mario is. That's what I honestly believe The Last of Us is like a fungus that affects your brain, bro. I'm like, oh yeah. Incubus wrote a whole album about it. It's called The Fungus Among Us.
I'm kind of bummed that Ethan's not going to be in that reverse though.
Yeah,
That playable game, because I just like to see him like run around and just curse and scream because he's like, God damn it, all the time. Like every 10 minutes, he's just pissed off at his shit luck.
in the first like half hour, 45 minutes of that game is just him being like, why does everyone I get attached to fucking die on me? like everyone around him except his daughter, who by the way is like it's both creepy and adorable how amazingly detailed they made the like Rose's character model. Like
Yeah,
is like the attention to detail, and playing it on the 5 is amazing. Like the
that's funny too.
texturing is gorgeous, and the load times are none. Like there's no load time.
That's good.
I hit continue and I'm in the game. I'm like, fuck, I didn't even get time to stretch. Like, go get a drink. But
I was gonna say, have you guys ever played Portal 2? This is gonna sound really random back. Have you played the co-op on Portal 2 where like you both have to use your portals to get places? Oh, well, when you get a chance, it's fantastic. It's like one person has one portal, the other person has the other portal, and you have to use them to help get each other places.
Interesting.
I would love to see, granted not with portals, but I would love to see a Resident Evil game that was co-op like that.
Not where you have two individual storylines, but you kind of play where you guys both have to affect each other.
Yeah, where it's like you're both helping each other get to wherever the end of this is. I feel like we're every game that's co-op now, and I say co-op because it's not co-op at all, but like they're always like, oh, it's co-op, but it's really just PvP. And I'm like, yo, into hanging out with your friends like in the same building.
So there's a game that was just released by the guys that did Brothers and A Way Out. It's an EA interactive game called It Takes Two. And it's a co-op game. This I'll tie this back in because it's ridiculous. But no, it's a legitimate co-op. Like you have to work together to get through puzzles. And my girlfriend and I have been trying to find games to play together, and we've been playing like Super Bunny Man, which is not really a co-op game, kind of co-op, but it's more of a rage quit game. But this one, like you literally have to work together. Like you each control a piece you need to solve puzzles and like maneuver through the universe. So I could see something like that. Like you're like Mickey, you're Jill Valentine, and Nikki, you're Chris Redfield, and Jill has to get the piece of the fuse that Chris needs to open up the door to get to the next area. Or like you guys are in the same building, but in like potentially different areas, working together to solve puzzles. I think that would be and take out enemies. That would be dope.
And I always love how like even, and this would be so easy for Resident Evil because there's always like a moment where like you're with someone else and that person falls into a hole or something and it's too big for you to jump down, and you're like, yo, I'll meet you at the end, and then you become that other character and you have to go through whatever that part of the story is. But if that had happened and you both had to do separate things to get to the same place in the end, you'd be like, yo, this is the coolest co-op, because I'm so tired of, first of all, having to do the thing where I'm like, run, stop. Oh, snap. Okay, I got you. Okay. But beyond that, like, I'm so tired of doing all the work. Yo, what are you doing back there? Yeah, I know you have a gun. Pull that shit out and shoot somebody. Like, I'm not here to backpack you.
Yeah, they tried that with 5 and 6, I think, but it didn't really work out because it ended up just being like essentially like a rail shooter with 2 people, and it didn't work quite as well as it did with like the concept that you're trying to make. Like it essentially was like you two both hide and then you two shoot. Did you guys ever play Army of Two?
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that, but not as good.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, because
So
like you guys both had to just clear rooms of bodies, and then you were done.
like Time Crisis,
Yeah,
where you just blah blah blah. Like that was the only part of the game that pretty much existed.
yeah, exactly. So Nick, as somebody who has finished Village as well as I have, are you excited for the next installment based on the information you have?
Oh, absolutely. Like once I finished the game and like they were kind of like setting it up on that ending,
Yeah.
I was like, come on, can we just get a release date next week? You know,
Yeah.
please. Like, because I get so into the games I'm playing where like my time off where I'm not working or sleeping, I'm gonna be playing that game until it's over and done with, because that's all I'm gonna be thinking about. And once I was done, I was like, I'm ready for more. Like, Papa needs more Resident Evil.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It went to that epilogue, and I was like, dude, like let's go tomorrow, right? It's coming out tomorrow. I get to play it tomorrow.
I'm ready. Let's do it now.
And
let's get it in VR. You did 7 in VR. How come 8's not in VR? That would have been rad in VR. I would have had the air conditioning on while I played it.
Yeah, I think it's getting there, just because it's mostly outside and it's cold as shit. And there's parts where he's freezing. But I would love to play that in VR. That's another thing too. For Mickett, who has never played them, they never reveal Ethan's face.
Really?
Ethan is a faceless character.
Or he could be that Green Goblin.
He could be the Green Hulkin dude that you were talking about before.
I hope that somehow they figure a way that like when you do your avatar for VR, like if you ever happen to be Ethan in VR and see a mirror, it's your avatar, and you're like, oh, I'm Ethan.
Stick.
That would be dope. You look into a mirror and you see yourself, you're like, oh shit. Like a 2K having the share a face feature in 2K, NBA 2K.
Yeah.
I did that the other day, by the way. It's really weird with a beard of any facial hair of any kind. It just looks like your face is super dirty.
Yeah.
And the rendering's really weird because it like gets your skin tone right. But like I'm a little rosy right now because like I just am. Like I don't have the best skin all the time. So I did it the other day just to do it. Could you imagine doing that in like a Resident Evil game where like you render yourself in and then you're there, but then like you die and the game finds a way to like contort your skin and like peel your face away. You turn into the monsters.
That'd be weird.
That would be dope. I'd be freaked out.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking of too is like I feel like with how technology is nowadays, like we have like Alexa hooked up to like literally everything, right? Like I was doing the show the other day and it was like, Alexa, turn on the Zoom meeting, and it turned on a bunch of cameras and like all these lights and stuff. And I was like, oh damn, okay. But speaking of Nikki, your concept with the AC, I would love that while you're playing VR, if it was hooked up to your AC and it made it the degree that it is in the game, supposedly.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? Oh, I'd be so cold.
Oh God. That would be like nuts.
Yeah.
I'm cold in just 70-degree weather. Can you imagine just being out in that tundra, you know?
The snow. Yeah.
I'm already getting cold just thinking about it. God, what wuss.
To me, the world of Village was so much more than what the game made it out to be initially. Like, how impactful was it that you're secluded in this essentially like desolate village full of lichens and fish monsters and fucking grotesquely rotund gentleman who fits in a tiny cart who gives you all your shit.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was crazy. So like the merchant in this game, he's like, I've been waiting for you, Ethan Winters. And you're like, who the fuck are you? He goes, oh, I apologize. Everyone calls me the Duke. You're like, the Duke of what? Giving me my
like,
shit?
who's everyone? There's nobody here.
They're all monsters now, bro. But he's kind of like the lore giver and the merchant guy.
Doug, I'm telling you, this is such a great example right here. Like before the world had gone to shit, everyone called this guy asshole. I promise you, right?
Yeah.
As soon as everybody died, he was like, "This is my shot. I can change who I am right now. I am now the."
What? Okay,
You
no
saw some
joke.
inspirational Instagram post.
Yeah,
You're right.
you're right.
I'm not shit brick. I'm the Duke.
But the most immersive portion of it is like you'd go into the menu and you'd be like, what will it be, Ethan? And then you just hear this the entire time because he's a really fat dude, but you just hear
Oh no.
and and then you like buy something or sell something. He's like, are you on hard times, Ethan? It's like, no, man. I just don't need that shitty gun anymore. And it's worth like $5,000. And I could use that to upgrade the better gun that I have over there. And it's eating up my inventory space.
Well, I just got my
asshole.
arm sliced off, my hand bitten. Yeah, I'm on hard times. These werewolves kidnapped my daughter. You think this is a vacation for me?
I don't know where she is, motherfucker. She's like 6 months old. She can't feed herself. Where's her mom? Oh yeah. Not a spoiler because it happens in the first 10 minutes of the game. You essentially get to watch your wife get lit up by a group of soldiers and then get double tapped by a guy you thought was your friend. So,
and we ain't talking about guns and bullets, baby.
So wait, are there any vampires in this?
Yes, there are 4.
Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. I've read some things, and like to my understanding, there's some vampires. In ops to connecting this to our literal last podcast we had,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean this is also the same world as Harry Potter?
Are we gonna start doing? Is this connected to Harry Potter? We could find a way to connect to every single
Honestly,
one.
if you think about it, like this is immediately connected to Underworld, and I could see Underworld and Harry Potter crossing pretty easily. Like, at what point in Resident Evil are we going to see little mini wizards?
There were mini wizards in Resident Evil 4.
No.
Yeah.
Technically, wouldn't Ethan be a mini wizard since, he was using potions class, things he learned from potions class to put his hand back together?
He potion classed his shit together, and there's like a bunch of castles and shit in this one. There's like 3 castles in this one.
So at some point in the near future, they're going to end up at Hogwarts. That's
yeah, maybe. That would be fucking weird, actually. You find out that Voldemort made the T-virus the whole time. Voldemort is Wesker. You rearrange all of Wesker's letters and it becomes I am Voldemort with a W instead of a V.
Yeah.
Because he's German now. I'm Voldemort.
Unch Voldemort.
Unch Voldemort. Oh fuck.
We're slowly world together. That's
we're gonna slowly build what becomes of Nikki, to close out another factor of this. How fast would Cole Young die in a Resident Evil universe?
Oh my God. Can you imagine him complaining when he got his hand cut off? He wouldn't even be able to put it back. He would die so quick because Cole Young is a guy that got his powers by getting his ass kicked. And within the first 5 minutes of his introduction in Mortal Kombat, he was losing because he's a loser, just like his fake scorpion father.
Sorry, Mickey. I had to poke the bear.
You know what's worse about that though is that you want him to lose in this scenario, in this Resident Evil scenario, but he would end up dying. He'd be a zombie, and now he lives forever.
Yep.
Now you have Cole.
Unless you pop him, do that double tap in the head.
Zombie land.
Gone.
Boom.
Yeah.
All right, Jen.
So that
I'll
would
talk
be
to you guys
3
soon.
lovely bullets that I would
3
gladly,
bullets.
again, 1 for life and then 2 for a double tap Resident Evil style.
All right.
Awesome. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
There you go.
All right.